Jikh. Welcome back, everybody. We got some breaking news with Block, which is down 20% at the market open today. Why? What's going on here? Well, apparently there's this organization called Hindenburg Research, which does a lot of research into companies to see if they're engaging in fraudulent and sketchy activity. Now, their founder, CEO, leader is Nathan Anderson, this buxom, balding man right here, who hit the news pretty recently because he dropped a bombshell report on a massive Indian tycoon, I think his name is Adani, and exposed a bunch of fraud, potential fraud going on in some very large publicly listed Indian companies. We got some craziness going on, but now he's going after a U.S. stock, Block, Jack Dorsey, crypto, oh my god. Now, I went on Hindenburg, and I read the report, or at least I read the bullet points, and I downloaded them and highlighted them. So we're going to go through point by point exactly what the accusations are that Hindenburg is leveling against Block. And let me tell you, there's some serious stuff going on here. So according to Hindenburg, which I downloaded their bullet points, Block has systemically taken advantage of the demographics it claims to be helping. Man, that's not common in the world. They've facilitated fraud against consumers and the government. They've avoided regulation, and they've dressed up predatory loans and fees as revolutionary technology. It's the future, bro. And misled investors with inflated metrics. Okay. Now, Block is pretty major, okay? They have this thing called Cash. They have an app called Cash App, which I use. I don't know, should I stop using it? But they have this app called Cash App where you can send money between people. And there's expectations that this is going to have 51 million monthly active users, okay? That's a lot of freaking users. That is a lot of people using this app. So this ain't some small thing, okay? And everybody's heard of Cash App, of course, okay? Continuing. Block has wildly overstated its genuine user counts and has understated its customer acquisition costs. Now, a lot of these unprofitable companies, and if you look at Block's earnings, they've generally been unprofitable. A lot of times their valuation is based on user growth, revenue growth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when analysts see these massive reportings of user growth, they'll say, wow, this company's growing like crazy. You know, we got to put this into our models, and that's going to affect the valuation of the company, blah, 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 blah. Well, if a company's overstating its user count, that's going to have a pretty significant impact on the stock now, isn't it? Okay, because that's going to change everybody's models. New information has come into the market. And they have understated its customer acquisition costs. Now, to do that, there's really two main ways you can understate costs. Number one, you can capitalize costs on your balance sheet. Instead of expensing them, you can capitalize them and try to hide away expenses for customer acquisition costs. Or you can try to allocate costs to somewhere else on the balance or the income statement and deceive investors from really understanding the true cost of customer acquisition costs. I don't know exactly how they did it. Maybe there's more detail in the report, but apparently they're doing that, which is not good because that also plays into the valuation of the company. Now, they also state that former employees estimate that 40 to 75% of accounts they reviewed are fake. That is insane, okay? That is a huge number. Imagine 75% of this 51 million being fake. I don't think it's that big. Personally, that's just my opinion and guess. But if they were to, if 75% of the accounts were to be fake, that would be nuts, okay? Or were additional accounts tied to a single individual? So it looks like you don't have as much user growth as you might think. Now, core to the issue is Block has embraced one traditionally very underbanked segment of the population: criminals. Oh, baby, criminals. Or bad actors to mass create accounts for identity fraud and other scams. So they're overstating their user counts, they're understating their costs, most of the accounts are probably fake, and they're facilitating crime, fraud, and giving banking opportunities to criminals. Oh man, it just got serious, okay? Now, apparently, when users break the rules on Block, they blacklist the account without banning the user. So a criminal does something, you know, they steal somebody's money, and somebody complains and they get blacklisted. Well, that person, it's himself or herself, doesn't get banned. Okay, that's interesting. Now, funny enough, the phenomenon of allowing blacklisted users was so common, rappers bragged about it in hip-hop songs. That is hilarious, okay? So, continuing on, many described using it to scam, traffic drugs, or even pay for murder. See our compilation video on this here. Oh my god. Block paid to promote a video for a song called Cash App, which described paying contract killers through the app. The song's artist was later arrested for attempted murder. So, that's something I need to look into. That is insane. If they're paying for a song where it's talking about killing people. I mean, that's pretty much like a lot of rap, okay? There's a lot of that kind of stuff in rap. But that's still kind of a bad image for a company that's doing something like that, okay? There's even been reports of you-know-what trafficking and you-know-what trafficking of very young individuals, okay? I even saw, there's a funny tidbit here. There's a Cash App gang in Baltimore. Interesting stuff, okay? Now, Hindenburg tried to do an experiment. So they said, okay, let's see how bad the vetting process is for user accounts. Like, do they actually even verify who you are, okay? For example, Hindenburg created an account called Donald Trump and Elon Musk. I don't know if you know who they are. Apparently, there was no verification whatsoever, and they even ordered a card. Okay, they got a cash card with the person's name is Donald Trump on it, and Cash App actually sent them the card. So they were able to send and receive money under the name of a very famous, well, two famous celebrities, no issue whatsoever, and then they got a freaking card in the mail with Donald Trump and Elon Musk on it. Okay. Now, on top of that, Cash App suppressed internal controls and ignored user pleas for help as criminal activity and fraud ran rampant on its platform. I'm not surprised in the least, man. Like, Jack Dorsey, I'm not saying he's a criminal or a fraud, but he's really big into crypto. And a lot of, when I see somebody that's really into crypto, it gives me pause. It's like, what are your real intentions? What are you really trying to do here, okay? We filed public records requests. This is Hindenburg. We filed public records requests to learn more about Block's role in facilitating pandemic relief fraud and received answers from several states. Massachusetts sought to claw back over 69,000 unemployment benefits from Cash App accounts just 4 months into the pandemic. Suspect transactions at Cash App's partner bank were disproportionate, exceeding major banks like JP Morgan and Wells Fargo. So, I mean, it seems pretty clear to me that a lot of scammers and grifters are using Cash App to just extract as much money as possible, because there's almost like no vetting process. You know, you don't have to go through the traditional vetting process of opening a bank account. You can just download Cash App, bro, and then before you know it, you can facilitate fraud, you can claim unemployment, do all sorts of stuff. You can even do your taxes, I've heard, through Cash App. Oh, God. I don't even want to know how that works. That's freaking crazy. Okay, so continuing on. As Block stock soared on the back of its facilitation of fraud, co-founders Jack Dorsey and James McKelvey collectively sold over $1 billion of stock during the pandemic. Jesus Christ. Now, besides all that, so CEOs enriching themselves, fake numbers, rampant fraud, all sorts of horrible things going on here, fake accounts. On top of that, apparently, Block is charging these things called interchange fees, which are fees charged to merchants for accepting use of various payment cards. Now, Congress passed a law that caps interchange fees by large banks that have over $10 billion in assets. Block has $31 billion in assets, but they're able to get around it by routing payments through a small bank. So they're basically just getting around this rule. It's like a technicality. Oh, well, even though we're a massive company, we can charge interchange fees because we're actually going through a small bank that doesn't have $10 billion in assets, huh? Okay. And apparently 1/3 of Cash App's revenue came from this opaque source, interchange fees. That's freaking crazy, okay? And then it just goes on. It's like nonstop. Like, this is insanely comprehensive. So then we have this acquisition that Block made called Afterpay. It's basically one of those like scammy buy now, pay later kind of things, or you spread out your payments over a certain period of time because you can't afford to buy something all at once, which means you probably shouldn't be buying something, but whatever, okay? Now, although it doesn't charge interest, late fees can reach APR equivalents as high as 289%. Oh my God. So overall, the Hindenburg report is claiming there's going to be downside of between 65 to 75% in Block shares. That's insane. Now, honestly, I would not be surprised if Block plummeted that much. They had an insane rise during the pandemic. A lot of stocks went up massively. I mean, look at this. But since it's kind of come down to earth, and then even from here, they're saying there could be another 75% decline. That's terrifying. What do y'all think? I mean, I look at this company and I see, pretty explosive revenue growth. That's great. But I also see a lack of profits. I see them losing money hand over fist. And really the only time they made money was like pandemic era. And once that really slowed down, the profits kind of drained away. What do y'all think about this? Let me know in the comments below. This seems pretty insane. I've never liked this company. They were pretty big into crypto. With this report, I'm really not surprised by what I'm reading. What do y'all think? Talk to you later.